Hi guys, welcome to the SetrocJC Daily Podcast. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at SetrocJC, and also you can subscribe to the podcast now on iTunes. Just search for SetrocJC in the podcast section. So today's topic is about dogs. Now the reason I want to talk about dogs is because my neighbour, who's had a dog for years, his dog's on its last legs, I don't know how old it is, about 12 or something, and he's just bought a new dog. Why do owners do this? They seem to get rid of when the old one's on its way out, they seem to want to buy a new one to replace it. I don't know why, because surely you're still going to be just as gushed and upset when the old one passes away, so I don't really see the logic. But their new dog barks all the bloody time. Bark, bark, in the mornings, bark, 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 at night, bark, bark, bark. That's all you can hear. He puts it in the garden, it barks. There's nothing more annoying than hearing a dog bark, especially in the morning or when you're trying to get to sleep. But I don't blame the new dog, I blame the old dog, because if I was in that old dog situation and I knew full well that my owner was buying a new dog to replace me when I died, I would do everything possible to stitch up the new dog. I'd be like, yeah, you know what our owner loves more than anything? Bloody barking. He loves it when you bark. He can't get enough of it. He puts you outside so that he can stop himself from being so happy because you're barking. So I've always liked dogs, and when I was growing up we bought a white Labrador. Now unfortunately this dog was trouble from the start, because we didn't realise at the time, but dogs are like kids. You have to bring them up properly, otherwise they become a bloody nightmare. So what we used to do, because we didn't know any better, we used to dress up with like ski gloves on and big padded coats, and we used to like wrestle with it, and the dog used to be snarling and biting our hands and crawling all over us. And now this is all well and good when you're playing, but unfortunately, understandably, the dog didn't know when we were playing and when we weren't. So when we used to feed it, the thing used to go flipping mental. He used to snarl and growl, and it used to be the most scariest thing ever. And one day I was coming home from school and opened the back door, and unbeknownst to me, my mum had just fed the dog, and the bloody thing nearly ripped me leg off. It went mental at me. Most of the time it used to have a really good temperament, but you could never tell when it was going to turn. We used to take the dog up to the school when I was being picked up. The kids used to come over and stroke it and pat it, 'cause it looked like a really friendly dog. Like white Labradors, they're probably one of the most friendliest dogs there are, normally. And the kids used to come over and pat it and make a fuss of it, and you used to watch it carefully because you never knew if it was going to snap or not and start growling. It used to terrify us. So I drive into work in the mornings, and most mornings I see the most annoying thing ever. It's basically I see people running or cycling with their dogs, and I'm thinking to myself, that poor dog has been locked up in the house all night. All he wants to do is go out and get some fresh air and go and sniff some lampposts, check out his mates, see how they're doing. But he can't do any of that because someone thinks that taking their dog for a walk means running with it, loop the bloody lead around the handlebars, and they cycle along. The poor dog's running at about 10 miles an hour, thinking, this isn't what I signed up for when I bloody got bought. Look at that dog over there, he's getting a good walk, he's having a good sniff of stuff, and here's me running about 20 minutes down the road and back again, just so this bloke can get some fitness. It's not right, is it? So I was looking up reading some facts online before I did this, and this is the first fact I come across. Apple and pear seeds contain arsenic, which may be deadly to dogs. Hang on a minute, don't worry about the bloody dogs. I eat apples and pears most days. What about me? Surely that can't be true, can it? Apparently, the ancient Egyptians, when their dog dies, I hope my bloody neighbour's not going to do this when his kicks the bucket, they shaved off their eyebrows, smeared mud in their hair, and mourned aloud for days. Mourned aloud for days? What's that mean? They used to wail and cry. Why would you need to do that? I think people would think you're a bit strange nowadays if you did that. And why did they used to shave off their eyebrows and smear mud in their hair? What's that supposed to see? Walking down the road and someone's got bloody no eyebrows and flipping great muddy hair, and it's like, oh yeah, his dog must have just died. Like, why do you need to do that? Just tell people. Well, if you're looking miserable, why are you looking miserable there? What's an Egyptian name? Jacus. Why are you looking miserable, Jacus? Oh, my dog just died. Oh, poor you. You don't need to put mud and shave your eyebrows off. What's going on there? Here's a good one. In Ventura County, California, cats and dogs are not allowed to have sex without a permit. Come on. Dogs, fair enough. You might be able to curb that, but cats, you got no chance. I can't even keep the cats out my flower beds, let alone stopping them from having bloody sex when they want to. Who polices that anyway? So there's coppers who have to go around and police looking out for cats and dogs having sex. What? That's got to be at the bottom of the list, hasn't it? So Monday morning, all the newbies are starting, all the recruits are in, like police academy, all the recruits are in. So what are we doing today, boss? Yeah, you on dog and bloody cat shagging duty. Awesome, just what I signed up for. Oh, here's another one. Dog nose prints are as unique as human fingerprints. No, I'm not sure what to say about that, really. I'm not really sure if many dogs commit crimes, really. For apparently petting dogs is proven to lower blood pressure of dog owners. Yeah, well, not if it was my old bloody dog, it wouldn't. It used to put my blood pressure through the roof when people used to come near it. Here's one of them useless facts for you. I don't know what you're supposed to do with this information. Dogs are about as smart as a 2 or 3 year old child. This means that they can understand about 150 to 200 words. It's like the difference. I've got a young boy and he's 2 years old. Surely the difference between a 2 and 3 year old child is massive. So that's useless. If it's going to be just one or the other, don't say 2 or 3, because every child's different. So as I just mentioned, I've got a young boy. When I go out for walks to the park and things like that, there's obviously dogs around, and one of the most terrifying things as a parent is when a dog that you've never seen before, you don't know, it might look like a nice dog, but it comes bounding up to your child when you're just behind, and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know whether it's going to be one of them news stories the following day about how a kid gets mauled by a bloody dog because their owner can't keep control of it, and the owners always look at you as if you're doing something wrong by trying to protect your boy. It's like, I don't know your dog, I don't know you, I don't know how responsible you are and how well behaved your dog is. If a dog comes running up to my boy, I immediately think that it's going to try and bite him. I'm sorry about that, but unless I know otherwise, that's the stance you have to take as a parent. It's called being bloody responsible. Here's a fact that's going to annoy people. If this doesn't annoy you, then there's something going on. Toby is the world's richest dog. In 1932, his owner left him $75 million. That's in 1932. That's probably worth 3 times that now. It's like, how sad is that? It's like, leave it to anything but your dog. Surely your dog doesn't need the money. Surely whoever they're leaving it to can afford to buy it some food every now and then. It doesn't need bloody $75 million in order to survive, does it? And anyway, how can it be the world's richest dog? Surely it's dead by now, so that money's long gone, isn't it? I wonder who the dog bloody left it to. Here's a good one. Dogs in space. Apparently 5 dogs have tragically died during their flights to space. It's like, what do you mean tragically died? The reason they sent a dog up was because they didn't think it was safe for humans. So how can they say tragically died? It's like, you must have had a rough idea something was going to happen. That's why you sent a dog. That was in like the 1960s. I'm not surprised. You wouldn't get away with that nowadays. You can't do anything without. If you said on the news, we're going to send a dog up into space nowadays, there'd be some bloody activist hanging off the bloody rocket with it by a chain or something, or would be clinging on with his bloody mitts, trying to stop the poor dog from crying. If I was in charge of the bloody space flight, I'd send up the plane with the activists tied to it. That'd make them think twice before they strap themselves to another rocket, wouldn't it? And if they're that fussed, why don't they volunteer to go up instead of the dog? That'd be alright. It's like, yeah, you go up instead of the dog. In fact, no, you can go up and the dog can go up, and you can look after the dog. No one's going to look after you, but you're so worried you can look after the dog and let us know if he gets into any trouble. And if at any time the dog does get into distress or trouble, I want you to use your body as a human shield to protect the dog, because he's our concern here, not you. The dog's our concern, so you protect him. It's got here the translations for the dogs' names. They've translated them into English, and the dogs are called like things like Squirrel and Little Lady. There's one called Blackie. Until it's the 1960s, you wouldn't get away with that nowadays. And there's another one here called Little Piece of Coal. That's the English translation of the Russian name. Little Piece of Coal. Don't call it that. That's hardly going to give it a good chance, is it? That's like putting doom on the mission to start with. You might as well just call it bloody Firework or bloody Space Rocket Firework Banger. Hi guys, you're at the end of this podcast. If you enjoyed it, please remember to comment and also to follow and like to hear more from me in the future.